All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another wonderful edition of From the Chair Where Inclusion Matters with your host, Patrick Holt, and his co host, Nathan Knox. Welcome, guys.
Thank you very much. We'd like to welcome our guest, Damien Knox. How you doing tonight?
Good. Thank you guys for having me. This is awesome. I'm really excited to be a part of this. Should be
Very
fun.
cool. So our first question is, who were your wrestling heroes growing up?
Oh, that's there's a lot. If I had to narrow it down to two, it'd probably be Kurt Angle and Triple H probably.
Ooh, good choice.
Those were the guys that I watched. And then Eddie. I'd throw Eddie in there too. But yeah, those were the guys that I Kurt Angle actually was the whole reason I got into amateur wrestling and then progressed to professional wrestling.
I can see that after watching your videos. So
Yeah. And then I got a lot of my style from Triple H as well. He was a pretty big influence on me.
yeah, I do have to say your finisher, where it's like a pedigree, like a double DDT, like from a pedigree position, is pretty sick.
Thank you. Actually, I have to shout out to my trainer JT West. He's the one who actually gave me the idea for the move. We were trying to think of something different that no one really uses anymore, and then we came up with the double underhook face buster, pretty much.
It's it's very cool.
Thank
I
you.
would highly recommend anybody to go check out, some videos and check that out.
I appreciate it.
Can you tell us how your name came to be?
The Damien or the Eric one?
Both.
All right, so Eric Brignon actually stimulated from I'm a Norse pagan, so I emulated a lot of the Viking into my character. And then it started to I wanted to go more back towards the Damien Knox because I originally started with Billy Knox, but then I switched over to Eric because it wasn't the gimmick wasn't like fully there. And then when it finally started to progress and I started to build on it more, I decided to hey, I want to go back to the whole previous gimmick of the Knox, but I'm a huge Batman fan. And one of my favorite characters is actually Damian Wayne. And I was like, so I'm gonna just implement keep the Knox, and I'm just gonna go with Damien because, like I said, I'm a huge Batman fan, and Damien is my favorite character. I think he's my favorite Robin. So I was like, oh, cool, Damien.
Very cool. Can you tell us some of your biggest rivals?
Oh, biggest rivals. Probably the one I had the most in with is probably AJ Radical. Like I had my first match with him, and then we had the other match previously, and he's just one I wish I could have done more with. And then probably again Chris Wilde. The match with Chris Wilde was really fun. I enjoyed that a lot. So I would probably want to wrestle those two guys definitely for sure again. But rival wise, I don't think I have a lot of rivals per se yet. But I'd probably say if I had to pick one, it would probably been AJ.
Got ya.
Yeah. And then Oren West was probably another one. I've had a couple matches with him, and we had a couple good ones. So him and Oren would probably be like my two biggest rivals.
Yeah, I saw some of the matches with Oren. You guys tore the house down on a couple
Thank
of
you.
those things,
Yeah,
so.
he was awesome to work. I had a lot of fun with him. we mesh really good together, and he's definitely a solid kid.
How much training did you do weekly, and how many shows do you do a week?
So when I was in Alaska, we did 2 times a week. It was Wednesday and Saturday, and then we had monthly shows every second Saturday of the month. So I'd do a show monthly, and then as I was leaving, we started to do birthday parties that started to pick up.
Mhm.
And then in Colorado, I've done 2 shows so far. I did Primos, which was awesome. I did their Bushido, which is on Fight TV. And then I did CSW's Red Rock Rumble, which was awesome as well. That was super fun. So hopefully I'll start doing more. I just moved into a house, so hopefully once we all get moved in, I'll be able to start doing more shows, traveling a lot more. Since I'm back in the lower 48, everything's more centralized, so I'm hopefully start to travel a lot more and get to work a lot more places. But definitely excited to keep working CSW and Primos.
We recently interviewed the owner of CSW, Randy Rude.
Oh yeah, great guy. He's awesome.
Yeah. I noticed doing my research today that you wrestled quite a bit. A guy named Mask of Nunnik. Am I saying
Mask
that right?
of Nanook. Yep, Mask of Nanook.
That had to be an interesting guy to wrestle with everything he had going on with that outfit. So.
Oh yeah, it was a lot of fun. He was definitely an interesting guy to wrestle. Great guy, like good guy. But yeah, he was definitely an interesting one to wrestle. Had a lot of fun. It was definitely a different style of wrestling to wrestle with him. But it was a lot of fun.
Did you have any tag team matches?
I had my first match was a 6-man tag, actually. That was my first ever wrestling match, was a 6-man tag. It was me, Theric Divine, and I believe it might have been 8. It was either 6 or 8-man tag. So it was me, Theric Divine, and Rome Gibson, formerly known as Taekwondo, now known as Taekwondo Throw, versus AJ Radical, El Naco, and Mask of the Nanook, actually, was my first 6-man tag. That was my only tag team match that I did. It was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun doing that. That was a nice first introduction to wrestling. First match. That was a lot of fun.
So, what's the best advice anybody's ever given you, and do you still use it today?
Best advice anyone's ever given me was my trainer, JT West, great guy. He told me that if we can't believe ourselves, then you guys won't believe it. And I stand by that, tried and true. Like, if we don't believe that we look the part, that we're wrestlers, if we don't believe what we're doing, then you guys aren't going to believe it. So we got to look the part, and then we got to believe whatever our gimmick is, whatever our character is, we have to believe that, or else you guys aren't going to believe it.
Well, I can honestly tell you, after watching some of your stuff, when you played Eric, I believe that from the word go, man. Your intensity during that character was.
Thank you,
like,
thank you.
Feel that.
But yeah, that's the best advice I ever got, was you got to look the part, and you got to have the confidence in yourself, or else you guys aren't going to have the confidence in us. probably the best advice, and I still stand true to that today. Like we gotta look the part. We gotta look like wrestlers. That's why the gym is so important and working out so important. We have to show you guys why we belong in the ring, and we have to look the part. That's why gear is so important. That's why having all the stuff you need to be a professional wrestler is so important, because you got to look the part. Like you have to look the part.
What other areas of the state would you be interested in traveling to wrestle?
Anywhere, honestly. Anywhere that is open to let me wrestle, I am more than happy to go to wrestle for. Like anywhere. Like I'll go down. I'll drive up. I drove up to Denver for Primos. I'll drive to Pueblo. I'll pretty much go anywhere that will let me wrestle. I will wrestle. I love wrestling, so anywhere that would allow me to wrestle, I'll do it.
So I have to know, what was it like to wrestle Follow Bob before we get to the next question?
Oh, it was great. Awesome. Great guy. I still talk to him every often. Like it was awesome to wrestle him. Learned a lot. Really good guy. Taught me a lot. Like I learned a lot from him. So it was awesome wrestling him. It was super fun. I would do it again in a heartbeat.
Yeah, you guys had a great match, but dude, your chest was lit up in that match from all those chops he was
Oh
doing.
yeah. That was fun. That was fun. Enjoyed it. That was great. Wrestling Follow was awesome. I'd do it again.
So before we get to our next question, I want to say thank you to our first sponsor, which is the CARE program, which stands for Community Action Reaching Everybody. And if you're interested in that, you can look up Becky Bernhardt on Facebook.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Can you tell us how your finisher came to be?
Yeah, so we were thinking, me and my trainer were thinking of something new, and like I said, Triple H was a big influence, and I wanted to do something that had double underhooks, and I was like, everybody does a double underhook DDT, like that's used a lot, and then the thought came up, no one really uses the double underhook face buster, so I was like, yeah, no one really uses that. So I was like, you know what? Let's try it out and see how it looks. We tried it out my first match. It looked great, so just ran with it pretty much.
You also do Triple H's running knee really well.
Thank you. Yeah, he was that's my homage to Triple H. Like I said, big influence, and I always loved it when he did it. So that's my tribute to him. I'm like, I want to do this. I want to do it beautifully, and it's awesome. I love it. It's like it's one of my favorite moves that I do. Actually, is that knee.
It shows.
Thank you. I love it. Like I said, big influence.
My favorite snack is cookie. What is your favorite cookie or snack, and what would it be and why?
Oh, favorite cookie. Gotta go with probably the classic Orioles, because it's just can't beat a classic. They're great. You get a lot of them for cheap, and it's what I had a lot as a kid, and just can't beat it, man. Like can't beat the classic. Classic Orioles would be definitely my favorite cookie.
Who was the last person to give you advice on your wrestling skills? What advice was it, and do you still follow that advice today?
Last person to give me advice was probably Jerry Bishop that I can recall. And he told me that keep doing what I'm doing, and if a lot more people had the attitude that I have, wrestling would be a lot better off. And I live by that. Like, I just try to have a good attitude and just try to better the people I'm in the ring with and better the locker room and better the people around me. Because I feel like if they get better, it's going to force me to get better. And it's just going to be that constant rise of people just getting better. And that's what you want. You want everybody to be flawless, because that'd be awesome if everybody was just having 5-star matches all the time. And you just had a whole pay-per-view of nothing but 5-star matches, and everybody was just focusing on getting everybody better and doing the best that they can. It'd be great. Like, well, yeah, he just told me keep doing what I'm doing. Don't let anyone tell you that you're not meant for this, because you are, and just keep the attitude you have now. Just keep it going.
How would you describe your wrestling style?
I'd say I'm a striker for sure. I like striking, and then technical. I like to get technical. I like to be precise on what I do. So I'd probably say I'm like a technical striker. Like, I take a lot of pride in my strikes, making sure that they're good and solid, and then technical wrestling. Being a former amateur wrestler, I take a lot of pride in that as well.
So this one's kind of a funny one, but when you wrestled Officer Mike in the tag match that you guys wrestled in, did it drive you nuts when he blew that whistle?
Yes.
Watching it kind of drove me nuts.
Yes. When I forgot about that. Yes. That whistle. That whistle drives me absolutely nuts. Great guy, but that whistle. Oh man. That drove me insane. Every time he blew that, I was like, "Oh man, I'm gonna take that thing and I'm gonna throw it out into the fans."
I can see that.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's it. Yeah, the whistle just drove me nuts, man.
Oh yeah.
It's a great idea, but man, does it being in the ring and just hearing it constantly, it's just
Oh, I bet. But follow up to that, hey, Mr. Flying Forehead, didn't you also have some sort of an encounter with somebody blowing a whistle in your ear?
Yes, I did. And by the way, I'm not just the forehead anymore. I did a podcast with the original Pitbull, Gary Wolf from ECW, and we got to interview Bill Alfonso. And Bill Alfonso's a great guy, but he blew that whistle in my ear for an hour after every word. I think I was deaf by the time the interview.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna go deaf with that whistle. Like I said, Nick's a great guy, but that whistle.
Yes, but that was a good call, Tony, because his whistle did remind me of Bill Alfonso's whistle.
Oh, that's what I do. You know, that's my job, man. So, anyways, next question.
Who is your toughest opponent to date, and why?
Toughest opponent. Oh man, I'd have to say probably Chris Wilde. Like, we beat the holy heck out of each other in our match, and it was fun. But that man can strike. It was great. I had a lot of fun, but he was probably the toughest guy that I faced. Just resilient. You give it to him, he just comes back and gives it even harder. Like, you hit him, he's going to hit you just as hard, if not harder, no matter what stage of the match it is in. He forced me. I probably hit that man as hard as I ever hit anyone, and he forced me to hit him even harder.
Ooh.
So yeah, like Chris, definitely. I'd wrestle him again. Love the guy, great guy, had a lot of fun, but he was probably the toughest opponent, just from the sheer tenacity and aggression that guy has. he matched me on every plane, and it was awesome. But he was probably the toughest guy I've faced so far.
If you could work for one of the 4 major promotions, that's like WWE, AEW, Impact, and let's go ahead and throw actually, let's make it 5: New Japan and CMLL. Which one would it be and why?
New Japan in a heartbeat. I love Japan. I want to go. Like, I visited. I want to go back. It's my dream to wrestle in Japan. So, New Japan in a heartbeat. AEW is a close second because there's a lot of dudes that work there that I'd love to work, but it's just New Japan. I think a lot of the dudes' styles over there would mesh really good with mine. And just like I said, it's my dream to work in Japan. Like, dream to wrestle in the Tokyo Dome. So if I had an opportunity to be New Japan.
And I can vouch for the fact that your style would fit like beautifully in New Japan.
Thank you.
Like the aggressive style that you have.
Thank you. Yeah, just love to work in Japan. It'd be awesome.
If you had a dream match, what would it be? Who would be involved? And why? And who would you put over in that match?
Dream match? It would be me and Okada in a sold out Tokyo Dome for the championship, and I would put my shoulders to the mat for that man in a heartbeat. I just feel like he's a great competitor, awesome, one of the top 5 going right now, and I feel like I would learn so much from him, and our styles would mesh really well. But yeah, it'd be Okada in a heartbeat. Would be my dream match.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. The wrestling fan inside of me just jumped for joy when you said that.
But yeah, that's my dream match, Okada.
What was your best match of your career so far, and who was it against?
Best match. I'd probably say my best match would have been against Calvin James. Would probably be my best match, because after him is when I really found my groove and found my aggression and found my next gear. That's when everything started to click and take off. So that was the turning point for me, was when I faced Calvin. That's when everything started to click. I started to find my aggression, started to really let it all take hold, and learned so much in that match. That's probably my best match.
What would be the best legacy to leave on the wrestling industry today?
If I could leave it better than I found it. That's all I want to do. I want to leave the industry better. If I can make an impact enough to leave it better than when I started, I'll be happy. Like, I don't need a Hall of Fame career. I don't need a whole bunch of championship runs. I just want to improve the wrestling business and leave it better than how I found it. That would be my legacy.
So before we thank our next sponsor, Tony, do you have any questions?
Besides Fala, who else have you wrestled that we may know?
Who else have I wrestled that you got? I wrestled in an 8-man Anarchy match with LSG's brother and his tag team partner.
Ooh.
And then I wrestled Jerry Bishop. I don't know if you guys know who that is.
Yeah, I do from watching your videos.
Yeah, I wrestled Jerry, and I think Fala is probably the most famous person I've wrestled.
Awesome.
And now we'd like to thank our second sponsor, Bruce Nichols Painting, for all your painting needs, lead removal, and yeah. So if you want to look him up, you can look him up on Angie. And I have to say this before I go to the next one, just in case I forget it later. I like to compare people to certain wrestlers when I'm watching like their videos. And the first person that jumped up out at me when I saw you, other than Triple H, was Sheamus.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. I've gotten that. People say they remind me a lot of my style reminds them a lot of Sheamus.
So before you start though, Nathan, I do have one other one. You were up in Alaska for a while, right? Did you know a man named Roy Lovejoy?
Yes, he recently just moved up or started with 907 as I was leaving. He was actually managing or is managing the Inquisition. But yeah, he was actually up there. Met him, awesome guy, really cool, really knowledgeable.
Yes, he is.
All around great guy. Like, yeah, he was just starting with us when I left.
Yeah,
Awesome.
he was one of our first interviews on this podcast.
Oh, nice.
And I'll tell you, that was one entertaining interview.
I
You
bet.
get that guy talking about stories, he will not stop until.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's definitely an awesome, interesting person. Great guy. Like, really knowledgeable.
We've all seen some pretty nasty breaks, like Dante Martin's at Supercard of Honor. What is your worst injury that you've had in your career?
Worst injury. Luckily, I haven't had too bad of injuries, but I think my worst that I've had so far was my hand recently at Primos. I honestly don't know what happened. I just looked down at the start of the match and my hand was just bleeding from 3 knuckles, just pouring out blood. Luckily, there's no stitches, but I don't know what happened. I just looked down and I was like, oh, I'm bleeding. And I was like, well,
that's nice.
I was like, I have to wrestle this match. So I just wiped it on myself and went.
There you go.
I got it patched up at the end, but luckily, fortunately, I have not, knock on wood, had any serious injuries, nor has anyone that's been in the ring with me been serious injured. So luckily, that hasn't happened, and hopefully that continues to be the case.
Absolutely. Hopefully that continues. You never want to see anybody get injured.
No, you don't.
If you could book one match as a promoter, who would the wrestlers be involved? What would the match be? Where would it be? And what would the outcome be?
Oh, it's a good question. I would probably, honestly, it'd be probably a fatal 4-way. It'd be Okada for sure. Probably Bryan Danielson. I would throw Adam Cole in there.
Ooh.
And probably the last person I'd throw in would be Carmelo Hayes. Because that kid is killing it right now. That man is killing it. And honestly, I don't know. I don't know what the outcome would be. I'd like to see all 4 of them get the dub, but I think beneficially it'd be probably beneficial for Carmelo to win because it'd really boast his career, and I think he deserves a big win like that. So I'd probably honestly, it'd be either Carmelo or Okada that would go over. But like I said, that Carmelo's killing it, and I think he deserves a big win and a big push like he's getting. Like that kid is solid.
And just thinking about like that one-on-one match that it would come down to of Carmelo and Okada, the contrast of styles would be phenomenal.
Oh, it'd be a great match. It'd be awesome.
I wouldn't know who to root for in that match.
Me either. Like that would be. I'd be happy with either one. Like Okada is definitely a legend, and Carmelo is going to be one in my mind.
So one of the matches I watched you do was a Christmas show. You were working the heel and you kept taunting the people as you were hitting the guy on the top rope.
Yes,
Did
yes.
all that stuff come like just off the top of your head? And did you have a hard time getting out of the building afterwards?
I honestly did not have a hard time getting out, mostly because I sat in the back until everybody left. But no, all that came natural. I heard it was a Christmas show, and I heard someone say something. I don't honestly remember what it was, and I just fired back with "Happy Holidays" when I hit him. It just came to me. I was like, what can I say? It's a Christmas show. What can I say? And I was just like, oh, I'll just say Happy Holidays. And then Merry Christmas when I hit him again.
Well, it worked.
Thank you. Yeah, it just is all on the fly.
In your personal opinion, can you name your top 5 tag teams?
Oh, top 5. FTR is definitely FTR is probably number 1 by far. Number 1. Probably throw the Acclaimed in there. The Acclaimed are solid, really good. Gotta go. Young Bucks definitely have to be considered in the mix. Like this is a dip. Like there's 2 separate lists. There's of all time and there's going now for me. So all right, so going would definitely be FTR as number 1. Probably the Lucha Bros number 2. Young Bucks would definitely be number 3, arguably for number 2. The Acclaim would be number 4, and then I think that's getting really solid and has a lot of potential. I think Aussie Open could be in the mix. Greatest of all time, number 1, Rock and Roll Express. Those guys by far are the epitome of tag team. Number 2 is gonna be Midnight Express. Those guys. Number 3 is gonna be Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson. Those guys were really good. The Rockers, number 4. That tag team was really, and then probably number 5 would be Harlem Heat.
Ooh, good choice.
Like Stevie and Booker in WCW were straight killing it as a tag team.
Yeah, I was wanting to see Harlem Heat in the WWE. Like
Yeah.
just once.
Yeah, I was wanting to see that too. That would have been awesome. I mean, I'm glad Booker definitely. I'm glad he got an opportunity to go because he killed it when he was over there.
Yeah, he made it really good when he became King of the Ring.
Yes, every time I watch an old King Booker match, I crack up at the British accent. Like,
yeah,
he went over the top on it, and it was awesome.
And I crack up with Queen Charmel too, because every time she said his name, it was like, okay, can you emphasize that a little bit more, please? I don't think that's humanly possible. If you want to try that.
Oh no, it feels like every time she announced his name, she emphasized it somehow more and more each time.
Exactly.
Hey, Nate, I'm going to disappear for a few minutes. Just keep going, okay? I'll explain in a little bit, but go ahead and just keep going.
Okay. What advice would you uh give a person who wanted to pursue a career in professional wrestling or as a professional wrestler?
Don't listen to the naysayers. Put in the work. Like listen to the people that are willing to help you out. Don't listen to the people who say it's not possible, and put in the work. You get It's like anything, you get out of it what you put in. If you work hard, you're gonna have success. So that's all I'd tell them. Pursue the dream, get after it, work hard, and make it happen. Don't listen to the people who told you it's not possible, because they don't know what they're talking about. Like, I had people throughout my entire life tell me, "Oh, you're never gonna be a professional wrestler. That's a stupid dream. Have a real dream." Look at me now. Like, I'm over here pursuing my dream, and that's the best advice I could give anybody. Just work hard, put effort and time, be willing to sacrifice, and don't listen to the people that tell you it's not possible.
Well, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, don't. Oh, you're fine. Just don't listen to people who say it's not possible, because what do they know? They don't know your work ethic. They don't know your dedication. Just keep doing you. Work hard, and it'll happen. Like, if you put in the work, it's gonna happen.
Well, Pat and I live by that every day. We're both Special Olympics athletes, so we get that same thing that was told to you all the time.
Yep.
That's awesome.
And Nathan and I are also Special Olympics athlete ambassadors.
Yep.
Nice. That's awesome.
And really quick before we get to the next one, let me tell you a story about how I didn't let in a wrestling setting let anything stop me. So I went to a training school, right? And everybody was going through a chop line. And it got to me because I was the only one left. Everybody's like, "Oh, we can't do that because you're in a wheelchair, right? We're not going to chop you because, that's not right." And I looked at everybody in that room and I said, "Listen, if I'm going to do this and I'm going to be involved in this training school, you're going to treat me like everybody else." So they pinned my arms down and they gave me a chop on both sides of my chest 10 times from each person that was in that.
Nice.
Could you give us a list of your top 5 best opponents and why they were listed the way they were?
Best opponent number 1 has got to be Chris Wilde, just from the simple fact of I had so much fun wrestling that man. He's just tough as nails, tough as they come, and it was awesome. He was, like I said, I had to hit that man as hard as I hit anyone, and then he still found a way to come back, so I had to hit him even harder. Number 2 would have to be number 2 is a three-way tie between Jerry Bishop, Calvin James, and Falaba. Just simply because of how much they taught me, how much I learned from them, and how much advice they gave me. Like, I learned so much from all 3 of them. It's unbelievable how much they taught me and how much they have to offer to the business if people would just listen to them. Just take the time to listen. They have so much to offer. They're so knowledgeable. They're all 3 great guys, and they taught me a lot. Number 3 would have to be Oren. Oren West was a lot of fun to work. That kid has a lot of potential, a lot of talent, great guy, super fun to work. Like, I enjoy working that man. Like, I would work him again. Hopefully I got to work him again. He was awesome. I'm really excited to see what he becomes. AJ Radical. Had a lot of fun working him. We had a great match. It's a really talented kid, really talented guy, has very knowledgeable, but he was pretty awesome to work. Oh, number 4 would probably be Burt Ringo. He's another really good, knowledgeable guy, has a lot to offer. We had a great match, had a lot of fun, enjoyed it a lot. And then probably 5th would probably be Bryson Axel, just because he was a lot of fun. I love wrestling guys that can hit and guys that can take a hit, and it's awesome. He had a lot of fun. We went to blows, and it was freaking phenomenal. I loved every minute of it. Like, I would wrestle anybody I wrestled in Alaska again in a heartbeat. Like, everybody up there is awesome, great people.
If anyone came up to you and said they wanted to become a professional wrestler, would you encourage it, and would you train them?
I would encourage it 100%. And I would train them as much as I could. With just being 2 years into the business, I'm still really green, but I would offer any advice I could, and then I would direct them to the people who trained me or someone that I knew that was a trainer. But 100%, I would encourage it and give them the tools to make it happen.
Could you give us a list of your top 5 managers and why?
Ooh, that's a good one. Top 5 managers. Definitely Bobby the Brain Heenan is in there. That guy was just a solid guy, like solid. Jimmy Hart. Jimmy Hart was another good manager. You got to include Paul Heyman. That man has so much knowledge about wrestling. It's insane. Like, I've listened to some of his talks and his like speeches and podcasts. That man has so much to offer. Paul Bear, he was a great manager. Oh man, that's a tough one. I need one more. Wow, this is a good question. There's a lot of good ones. I'd have to say Yokozuna's manager.
Mr. Fuji.
Mr. Fuji, yes. Mr. Fuji. For some reason, I couldn't remember his name, but yeah, Mr. Fuji. That'd probably be my top 5. All those guys were very knowledgeable. Paul Heyman being one of the ones that's, I think, still alive. Well, maybe the only one that's still alive. But yeah, those guys.
Well, Jimmy Hart still alive.
Oh, Jimmy Hart, yeah. But those guys had a lot to offer. Paul Heyman's still contributing to the business, still killing it out there.
Yeah, like, I have to make a comment on Bobby Heenan that you picked. All 3 of us all even agreed that he is one of the best mouthpieces of all time.
Oh, 100%. 100%. That man was amazing on the mic. That man was awesome all around. And look what Paul Heyman did for Brock Lesnar, and look what he's doing for Roman.
Yep.
Even CM Punk. Like, he did a lot for Punk that little time that he was with Punk.
See, I wouldn't mind seeing Paul Heyman go with Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, I think he could make something happen. If anyone could, he'd be the one to do it.
Yep.
I agree. What is your future goals for yourself in professional wrestling?
Future goals. Top. I want to be. One goal up here is to be a champion up here by next year. That's a goal. Within 6 months to a year. Be on AEW as an extra or in any form of capacity. Eventually, as a
Right there
wrestler,
when you want it, buddy.
that'd be awesome. My overall goal, like I said, is to wrestle in Japan. Like, hopefully, in the next 2 to 3 years, I'll be wrestling on AEW on Dark, and then hopefully, eventually, make it to the main roster. And then once I
Okay, fine.
do that, hopefully, the next step is Japan.
But you're saving Grandpa one.
My overall goal is to wrestle in Japan.
No, this is Grandpa's.
Very cool.
No, Nathan, you're fired.
Yeah, inside joke. Sorry.
In your opinion, who is a better wrestler turned actor?
Better it's got to be The Rock. It has to be. Like, numbers don't lie. Like, that man, that man knows what he's doing when it comes to acting. Like, obviously he's doing something right if he's this successful. That's just the bottom line. Like, I'm not saying Cena is a bad actor. Or The Miz. I'm just saying the numbers don't lie, and the numbers show that The Rock has been the most successful out of any wrestler turned actor.
So a follow-up to that, what's your favorite wrestling movie or TV series?
Ooh, favorite wrestling movie. I would have to say my favorite wrestling movie would probably be The Wrestler.
Good answer.
Because it shows both sides of wrestling. The happy, like, awesome side, and then it shows the dark side of, like, what wrestlers are actually doing to themselves and, like, what they're dedicating their bodies to and what we're actually putting our bodies through. And probably favorite wrestling TV series, I'd have to go Heels. Heels is great.
Yes.
That is a good show.
Can you name the top 5 best factions of all time?
Ooh. Four Horsemen, definitely. Both versions are definitely in there for factions. Evolution was one of the greatest factions that, like, has ever. The stars that came out of Evolution and were put into Evolution by far were phenomenal. Probably a little unpopular, Undisputed Era. I feel like they were a great faction. NWO, the original, the black and white, and then when they split off into the black and red as the Wolf Pack, that was great. And then the last one, I got to go Bullet Club. Like,
Yes.
Bullet Club, just the sheer amount of talent that is in Bullet Club, that has come from Bullet Club, whether it was Kenny or the Young Bucks or Cody or Jay White or Juice Robinson, like Finn Balor, even, like, the talent that the Bullet Club has produced is phenomenal. So I would definitely throw the Bullet Club in there.
And to follow up on that, I think there's one member of the Bullet Club that needs to be on a big stage, like in the United States, that hasn't come over yet, and that's Bad Luck Fale.
Yes. That he definitely needs to come over. That'd be awesome.
So, can you tell us one story that nobody can look up about you that people would be shocked by?
One story that no one. Oh, I don't have a whole lot of wrestling stories, but there's one that I do sometimes tell. It was with me and Fala during the match. I don't know if you heard when they were saying one more time.
Yeah.
But before he windmill chopped me, he leaned in and said, "I'm sorry, and I love you, brother." And then he just proceeded to just windmill chop the hell out of me.
I
But
did see that, and honestly, I was cringing with you the whole time.
but I knew exactly what was gonna happen when he leans into me and is like, "I'm sorry." I'm like, "Here we go."
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't have a whole lot of wrestling stories. I haven't traveled a lot on the road being up in Alaska, so I don't have any travel stories yet. Hopefully wanting to get some, but
So we have a couple more questions that I just
oh,
thought of. You said that you were at the the Red Rock Rumble.
yes.
I have a two-part question for that one. How far did you get in the Rumble, and what was it like wrestling in a battle royal with 40 people?
So I honestly don't remember how far I got because it was chaotic. I know I entered 29, and I'm pretty sure I lasted at least 7-ish minutes, 7 to 10 minutes maybe. I
Pretty
know,
good. You made it.
but in the second part, wrestling in a rumble with 40 people was a lot of fun, but it was a lot of chaos. There was a lot going on at once. You're over here. Next thing you know, you look over here. There's a group of people doing whatever, smishing into whatever's going on over here. It was fun, but I'd definitely do it again. I had a lot of fun, but on the other side, it was a chaotic fun. I'll put it like that. It was chaotic, but it was fun at the same time.
And the last question I personally have is, have you? I know he wrestles a lot up in the Colorado area. Have you ever got a chance to wrestle yet? Gino, I told you so, Rivera.
No, I have not. I have not yet.
Well, I hope that happens soon because you and him would have a phenomenal match.
He is definitely on the list. He is definitely on the list of people.
I have another question. You said you did wrestling in high school.
Yes.
Was there any other high school sports that you'd done?
Football. I played football.
Very cool.
I was a football player and a wrestler.
For some reason, football and wrestling comes hand in hand.
It does. It's weird. It's definitely weird. A lot of wrestlers were football players. Like a lot of professional wrestlers were former football players. I guess it has something to probably do with the fitness and body type. I don't know, but it just, like you said, it seems just to bleed in a lot.
Yeah, to follow up on that, what position did you play in when you played football?
I was a wide receiver, defensive back, and free safety. We were a small high school, so a lot of us played both sides of the ball. So we got it.
Cool.
we got double duty, as you would say.
With your size, you must have been one hell of a wide receiver.
Oh, I was 152 in high school. I was a small kid. I was a small kid.
Well, Tony, do you have anything?
No, guys, I'm sorry. I apologize for cutting out on the interview, but
Oh no,
No,
you're
you're good.
fine. You're
Um,
fine.
we had a family emergency. That's why baby's here. So
No, you're good.
You're
So,
fine,
on that
man.
note, Pat, do you have anything else?
No, I don't.
Is there anything that you want to promote or anything that you have coming up? Or
I honestly, off the top of my head, I do not know of anything coming up. I'd have to look at the schedule, but I do want to say thank you guys so much. You guys are great. You guys are awesome. Without you guys, what we do would not be possible. Without you fans, none of the sport that I love so much would not exist. So I just want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for having me on here, and thank you for everything y'all do. 'Cause like I said, without you guys, there'd be no professional wrestling. You guys are the heart and soul of what we do, and I cannot thank y'all enough.
no problem. And if you ever do need anything promoted, just hit me up on Facebook and we'll make it happen.
All right, thank you so much.
all right.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank-
guys.
I would definitely love to do this again.
Oh, definitely. Anytime.
We'll put you
All right.
on the books whenever you want.
All right, thank you so much. You guys have a wonderful evening. Like I said, without you guys, there's no us. So you guys are just as important as we are. So keep doing what you guys are doing, and thank you so much.
No
You're very
problem.
welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. You guys have a good night.
You too.
You too.
All right, that concludes our interview. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us tonight. Stay tuned tomorrow night where we interview the first ever woman owner and promoter, Miss Yvonne Siebert, and then a later interview with Mr. Daryl Klein. And hopefully I will be able to join you for at least one, if not both of the interviews. I'm not 100% sure. But until then, and then Saturday, we've got our first ever media scrum for CPW Wrestling and our first ever female wrestler on this podcast, Miss SOS, who is the current Motivate champion out of Texas. So 4 interviews in the next 2 days for this podcast. Until then, be safe, be well, be good to each other. Love you, Jerry Springer. Rest in peace. And help control the pet population. Have your co-host and host spayed or neutered. Peace.